So yesterday we discussed the president's insane man-baby tweets. Let me give you them one more time here. He said, "I heard poorly rated Morning Joe speaks badly of me. Don't watch anymore. Then how come low IQ Crazy Mika along with Psycho Joe came to Mar-a-Lago 3 nights in a row around New Year's Eve and insisted on joining me? She was bleeding badly from a facelift. I said no." He's the most powerful man on the planet right here. This is what he's focused on. Oh my goodness, what are we gonna do? We have 7 different interventions going on right now. We have a healthcare fight, which is absolutely crucial. This is what he's talking about, man. Ugh, he really watches hours and hours and hours of cable news every single day. And it shows. He's obsessed with it. Well, in response to this, everybody came out against Trump. Let me give you some examples. This is the senior vice president of NBC Universal. He said, "Never imagined a day when I would think to myself, it is beneath my dignity to respond to the President of the United States." Yeah, fair enough. I hear you, buddy. I hear you. Okay, now we get some prominent Republican politicians. Here's Senator Lindsey Graham. "Mr. President, your tweet was beneath the office and represents what is wrong with American politics, not the greatness of America." And then you have Ben Sass, or, Ben Sassafras, Ben Sassy. He says, "Please just stop." This is another senator, by the way. "This isn't normal and it's beneath the dignity of your office." So we finally found a thing where, Republicans will disagree with the Republican president. We found it. Tweets. Mean tweets at a cable news host. So, yes, on the one hand, hey, thank you, Lindsey Graham, thank you, Ben Sass, for stating the obvious that any reasonable person would say when it comes to, personal dealings. Somebody who is the most powerful person in the world, like talking down and personally insulting a random cable news host. Like, I'm happy about that, and I wish every Republican senator and every person in the country would go, you know what, low blow, son. Come on, reel it in. But at the same time, I do find it incredibly frustrating that it requires personal level gossip bullshit. That gets, like, strong condemnations. And, that's the thing that generates the outrage and the pearl clutching. And the, "My goodness, that is in poor taste! That is not proper decorum, good sir!" Like, that's what generates that. Now, meanwhile, what's happening in the country right now? The Republicans are pushing a health care bill that kicks, another 24 million people off health insurance? Guts Medicaid to the tune of about $800 billion. Gets rid of protections for pre-existing conditions for people. The premiums are going to shoot up for the people who need the protection the most. We have 7 different interventions going on. It's every week I read a story about how President Trump is bombing somebody he shouldn't be bombing. Whether it's the Syrian army who's currently fighting ISIS, whether it's innocent civilians in Yemen or Pakistan or Iraq and various drone strikes. I mean, our infrastructure gets a grade of D+. Flint doesn't have clean water. At no point does it cross the mind of Ben Sass or Lindsey Graham to say, "Hey man, fucked up you want to kick millions of people off health insurance." At no point does it cross their mind to say, "Hey, did you see that new study that says 28,000 more people will die if Trump care passes?" Because you're kicking people off Medicaid, and they're not going to get the care they need, and then people die as a result of that. There are some people who are going to die as a result of that. They never say that They never say that. Real substantive policy effects that would, like, ruin people's lives and change families forever and just have a devastating impact across the board. That never generates, like, outrage or pearl clutching or strongly worded condemnations. Because they all agree on that. They all agree on that. When it comes to being the biggest asshole in the world, policy-wise, and screwing over the American people, doing tax cuts for the rich and shifting the burden onto regular people, doing favors for corporations that do the campaign donations and ignoring your constituents. That stuff they all agree on. The broken system, which is why Congress has like a 9% approval rating on a regular basis. They all agree on that. Let's continue business as usual. Let's continue having a 9% approval rating. Let's continue this corrupt, disgusting system. Let's continue fucking people over when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to their wages, when it comes to foreign policy. They all agree there. But, oh my goodness, you were impolite to a cable news host in personal terms. Now you've gone too far. It just shows how we're really bad at keeping our eye on the ball. We are. We have a reality star president. We also apparently have a reality star attention span. That's the word I was looking for. I was going to say time span, but that made no sense. That's what we have. I mean, it's got to be something super, like, lowbrow and relatable. Like, oh, I get in fights with my friends from time to time, and we say catty things to each other. That's what they're doing. Oh, now we can relate and talk about it. Well, no. First of all, the media is responsible for driving the conversation in the country, so they should be the ones who are harping away on the policy over everything else. But they don't do that. This is the stuff that generates the headlines, and I really just think it's sad, man. I do. I do. I obviously agree that this shows Trump as a man-baby. And he's a petty man and an unintelligent man. So ironic he's hurling accusations of other people having a low IQ, because, let's be serious here, who's the one with that? So in a sense, yes, I'm happy that people, come on man, what are you doing? But that needs to be done in areas where millions of lives are affected, and it's simply not. And in those areas, they actually agree with him, which is even more frustrating.